Hello everyone, and today I'd like to show you another very exciting chess game by Bobby Fischer, this time when he was only 13 years old at this time. So this chess game was played in 1956, and this is the same year when Bobby Fischer defeated Donald Byrne with playing the game of the century. And that game is arguably the greatest chess game of all times, or one of the greatest, if not the best, if not the greatest. Because the history of chess is so colorful, so deep, with many beautiful, many interactive chess games. And there are tons of different chess events, amazing, legendary chess players in the past, and Bobby Fischer was of course one of them. And in my opinion, the history of chess is so much more deeper than any other history of any sports. So the history of chess goes all the way back to 15 or even 1400s. So we have first recorded chess games back in 1400s, 1500s. So okay, anyway, but Fischer, when he was only 13 years old, he played the game of the century against Donald Byrne, and that game is a spectacular chess game. If you are new in chess, of course, you have to see that chess game. That game is fantastic. So in this chess game, Bobby Fischer's opponent was Isaac Spector. We don't know much about him. He was an American chess player, just like Bobby Fischer. He was born in 1910 and he died in 1980, and that's all we know about Isaac Spector. At least that's what I know about him. So this chess game was played in 1956, and Mr. Spector was 46 years old at this time, and Fischer was only 13 years old. It must be quite demoralizing to lose against a 13 years old teenager when you are in your 40s or something. Okay, so this game was played in the Manhattan Chess Club in New York. So let's see what happened. This is absolutely a notable game. Fischer starts the game with e4. We have the Sicilian defense. Okay, so capturing, this is the open Sicilian, developing the pieces e6, queen to f3, bishop to e7, and Bobby Fischer castled from the queen side. Queen to c7, queen to g3, and knight from b to d7, knight goes back, and then b5. So black's idea is very simple, pushing the pawn, kicking the knight to somewhere else, and then capturing the pawn, and Bobby Fischer is defending that, bishop to b7, f3, defending the e-pawn, and then black castled from the queen side. Well, Bobby Fischer decided to sacrifice his bishop, and what a move. What a move. And this was actually a very exciting move, and black needs to be very careful when he is defending against this move. If capturing the bishop, but black didn't capture the bishop, of course we will check out what happens if capturing the bishop. If a takes on b5, then knight takes on b5, and where is the queen going? Of course not c6, that would be the blunder of the game, because of knight to a7, forking king and the queen. So black has to play queen to b8 or something like that, but then bishop to e3 and targeting on a7. And in this position, queen to b6 is also possible, but then knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, and you can see that white has some compensation because white has 3 extra pawns plus the attack for a piece. So, okay, this is the move. Bishop takes on b5 by 13 years old Bobby Fischer. Knight to e5, not accepting the sacrifice, but when you don't accept this sacrifice, basically white is just a pawn up. Bishop goes back, and advantage for white. Big advantage, of course. h4, fixing the h-pawn. Knight to c4, and Fischer played rook to d4, attacking the knight. So knight goes back, simplifying the game, of course. What else? Because white is a piece up. White is a pawn up. So attacking the queen, and queen goes back and also defending the a-pawn. And watch this. Bobby Fischer is chasing the queen and harassing his opponent. So repeating the move, but Fischer played a different move. Not rook to a4, he played bishop to e3. And bishop to b6 is the threat, forking queen and the rook. So knight to d7 and defending that with the knight, and then rook to a4, again chasing the queen. Black is begging for exchanging the queens, but in this position, if queen to c7, then simply bishop takes and white is 2 pawns up, and this is even resignable in this position, if you ask me. I might resign in this position and look at the king. Black actually, by the way, should have considered castling in the king side. I didn't mention that, but it would be like castling into it. The queen would line the king. So that doesn't look very safe, of course. And okay, so in this position we have queen to e5, but this is also losing a pawn. Just like playing queen to c7. Queen is bishop to f4 by Bobby Fischer, and where is the queen going? So queen to f6, but this is losing one more pawn. Bishop takes on d6, and white is 2 pawns up. So knight to b6, and you can see that the bishop and also the rook is under attack. But Fischer played bishop takes, attacking the queen, and then saving the rook with attacking the knight. So queen gets in and defending, and king over, rook in. I mean, this move looks dubious because now the rook is in cage. So offering to exchange the queens, and white can exchange the queens, I think. But Fischer played queen to g5 and attacking the rook. White could also capture it on g7, and that would be a very good move, but he's attacking the rook, and where is the rook going in this position? So because this position is very desperate, Mr. Spector decided to sacrifice the exchange, and white is 2 pawns up, plus white has the exchange, and this is all over. Okay, so pawn up, and then queen attacks the knight, so black is defending, and then simply rook to c4, pinning the queen to the king, and this is actually too much, but there is this defense, although Bobby Fischer doubled his rooks. He can play something like knight to d5, and that's losing the piece. I mean, you can capture because you can't move the queen, there is nothing. Even if you move the queen, of course, if you save the queen, we capture the bishop with check. So what else? A very desperate position. But then knight to e2. Black is attacking the rook. Bobby Fischer is attacking the pawn and also the bishop. If capturing the pawn, forking king and the queen. So knight takes, rook takes, and then queen. And actually in this position, of course, I mean, black resigned because how to defend? Knight takes on e6, forking the king and the queen. Well, you can defend that, but not the bishop. Check. Rook takes on c6. And after e5, let's say we have check, and then queen is getting in, and this is all over. White is a piece up. Also, white has 2 extra pawns. So what do you think about this chess game of Bobby Fischer when he was only a 13 years old teenager? Okay, of course, his opponent played very bad, but again, this is one of the games of Bobby Fischer, right? I mean, if this is Fischer, so I think all of the games of Bobby Fischer is interesting, historically speaking, as he is one of the most legendary chess players of all times. And I hope that you have enjoyed watching this game. So I think Bobby Fischer's opponent was just some club player in the Manhattan Chess Club. By the way, Bobby Fischer, we know that he played tons of chess games when he was a teenager in these kinds of chess clubs. And okay, so that's it. I hope to see you again. Stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.